Hi, how you doing? I've just come back tonight from the City Neighbourhood Awards in Ballymun, where we had a fantastic night talking to residents associations, presenting awards, and I suppose thanking them for all the work that they do in all the environmental groups, the plantings, the tidy towns. But I've come back to the office really because what's been playing on my mind has been what happened today. We had the most number of people in today into the office about housing. Of course, we've had it by email into the office over the last number of years, but something today happened that to me summed up what's going on. Almost every facet of the housing crisis presented to us today, from students who can't get student accommodation, from people who are on the housing waiting list for 8, 9 and 10 years, working people who are privately renting and who've been evicted because their landlord is selling and they physically can't find another building or another apartment to move into and are now looking at emergency accommodation. I had a man in the office today who's sleeping under a bridge because he's nowhere else to go. I don't know what to say to people when they come into me because I don't know what the plan for this country is for housing. I can't say where we're going, and I have no confidence that we're going to deliver anything in the next number of months. Everyone is talking about a housing summit and a housing review which the current minister has had. But we're 3 years on from the death of Jonathan Corry when I went to the customs houses with Alan Kelly and the other political parties on the City Council and we spoke to him about what's needed. There's only 5 things in my mind that need to be done to get the industry started. Because ultimately, we need to start the construction industry building. They're not popular, but ultimately, without the construction industry, we're not going to get houses built. But that doesn't mean we go back to the way things were done in the past. So the first thing that I would do is I would get the local authorities, as in the local government agencies, building housing again. I want to talk about this image behind me. This is the road where my mum grew up. It's the road where my grandparents came to Finglas first. In fact, my grandparents on both sides came to very similar houses in Finglas, not because Finglas was a fantastic place, but because of jobs and because of housing. If we could build houses in the 40s and the 50s for an affordable rent or an affordable price, why in God's name can we not do it now? And if we can do it now, we can start to create, in a well-planned way, good communities for the future. So let me talk about the 5 things I want to see Eoin Murphy, and I'll be honest, what I want to see Fianna Fáil deliver. And if we can't deliver them, I'm not sure why we're supporting this government. The first one is the local authorities building. I believe if we get back into the market where the local authorities are tendering projects to get construction companies to start building, then we'll stimulate the industry. A 75-week procurement process on the Oscar Traynor site is a scandal, it's delaying housing, and we need to review it. The second thing is that there's lots of small sites all over the area that would take 2, 3 or 4 houses. Those small sites should go for sale and we should look at developing affordable houses on those or smaller units for senior citizens. Now, in both of those scenarios, we need to get the confidence of the local community. We can't railroad people who are already living here. So things have to be well planned and they have to have a social mix. We've no affordable housing scheme in the country at the moment. It was abolished after 2011 and it hasn't been brought back. Why? In the middle of a housing crisis, why do we not have an affordable housing scheme? It's a scandal. We need to bring that affordable housing scheme back. We need to deliver social housing and we need to deliver owner-occupied affordable housing. That's what we need. We need that mix on every site. And I believe if we had that mix, local communities would buy in and would accept more housing with the right facilities. The next thing I would do would be the financial contribution scheme for senior citizens. Really successful in the past, where people could sell maybe one of these houses where they have 3 bedrooms, give a third of the value to the council, and they then become a council tenant in a new complex and they pay rent to the council. Now I'm told we have 140 people in Finglas alone who want to adopt this scheme, but we don't have units to put them in. That seems to be about €20 million in this area alone that the council could raise to build senior citizen housing. And I know from all of the talk that we've had with local communities is nobody would object to senior citizen housing. So we could develop small senior citizen complexes close to the churches and the shops that they already live in, and then free up houses like this, not by bullying people out of their homes who go into nursing homes and intimidating families into making those decisions, but by giving older people real options. You can't just push people out of a home. You have to actually give them the options. And why should people move out of the community they've lived in all their life? We should be trying to give them houses, small, owned or 1 and 2 bedroom units in their own areas, so where they can stay, where they can be near their children and their grandchildren. It's a great example of that in Wadley, where there's small maisonettes that were built originally as part of the development. And I've seen in that scenario 3 families, older people, move out of those houses they bought maybe 30 or 40 years ago, or rented 30 or 40 years ago, and now they're moving into the small maisonettes that are on the same street. That's a great example of why we need to build more senior citizen housing. And the last thing that I would do is co-op housing. It's worked in Ballymun. The state spent money investing in infrastructure on the site. We gave the land to an affordable housing co-op, and they built houses. They built 2 and 3 bedroom houses for 140, 160, 180,000 euro. Now that's a very affordable price. If we can get banks on board to do that, which we have, if we can get the council on board to do that, which we have, why are we not rolling that out all over the place? As a councillor, I'm part of the problem, but I'm frustrated that there's no planning coming before me. There's no planning for social housing. There's no planning for private housing. There's no planning for senior citizen housing. What's coming is a drip of small projects that are not going to solve the housing crisis anytime soon. So I think what we need to do is give this government a number of weeks until the next referendum, or the next budget, apologies. And when we get to that point, if there isn't a huge vision for housing in this budget, with the ability to deliver it and the resources in the local authorities to make it happen, then I don't know why Fianna Fáil are supporting this government any longer. Because I don't have any faith that 3 years on from the death of Jonathan Curry, when I went across the door of the customs houses to meet the then Minister Alan Kelly, I don't have any confidence that the string of ministers that have come since have done anything different, or that the ministers that might come ahead in this government will do anything different. People criticise Fianna Fáil for lots of things, but over decades we've proven that we can deliver housing for people. And I believe that if we don't have the opportunity to support a government doing that now, then we have to put forward a plan to persuade people that we can do it again.